Triad News 360 for Tuesday, October 10th. I'm Mackenzie Fisher.
And I'm Emil Menard. Coming up next, we'll have the latest on the Las Vegas shooting.
And information on why an NFL football coach resigned, along with how DACA is affecting high school students. So first off, lights were lowered throughout Las Vegas. It has been 1 week since the tragic night. Police investigations are still ongoing onto what caused 64-year-old Stephen Paddock to send hundreds of bullets into a country festival crowd.
That's right. The total numbers of fatalities is 58, and the wounded number is nearly 500. It's been counted as the deadliest massacre in recent U.S. history. Authorities
are still trying to determine what motivated Paddock. Even his brother Eric reported in Orlando that he was dumbstruck by the incident.
Events in Las Vegas unfolded very quickly. Now America is trying to understand why and how this happened yet again on U.S. soil.
Joining us in the studio is Triad News 360 reporter Madison Johnson with a live guest from University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Madison.
Thank you, Mackenzie and Emil. Joining me live from the University of Las Vegas, Nevada is KNUV Radio 91.5 FM radio reporter Kim Trejo with the latest on the mood and investigations. So, you had said that you were very close to going to the concert. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my friends and I were very huge fans of country music, and last year we attended the festival, and you know, we swore afterwards we're definitely coming back next year. As the time went on, we just couldn't find the finances to actually purchase the tickets. I tried winning tickets on the radio. It just couldn't happen for us this year. We really wanted to go see Jason Aldean, in fact, and it just didn't happen for us, so we actually missed out this year. But I was at work at a restaurant about 2 miles away when it actually went down. So I saw the cops and all the ambulances and everything driving down the road. And I knew something was wrong.
Thank God you didn't go.
Yeah.
So what is the mood like overall in Las Vegas right now?
Ever since that morning, waking up, it's just been very somber. It feels just, the whole town feels different. You can tell people are on high alert. I was out the strip yesterday just walking around. My boyfriend and I went to go watch the Cubs game and then the Bears game. And just being on this strip, you hear a little noise or something, you see people running, and you're just on alert. You're just walking around, just looking everywhere, just to make sure everything's okay, even though I think right now it's probably the safest it could possibly be, especially right after what happened, because everyone's on high alert, especially the cops and everything. But it's still, you can feel the mood changed for sure.
How was it as a student covering such a major and tragic event? Like, what was that like?
Honestly, I feel like it helped me process things a little bit more. I speak to my friends who didn't get to cover anything, and they're still trying to process everything, but I think waking up that morning and coming in here and just getting into that work mood, like the work mode, and just thinking about what do I need to report, where can I find more information, can I contact anyone that's been there, and just getting into that, the thoughts of I need to work, I need to do this, I need to push through because people need to know this information. It almost helped me process the feelings that we're going through, and just knowing that I'm helping out a little bit, just even if I'm just providing information.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kim. I'm so thankful just getting to talk to you for a minute that you didn't go to that concert and that you are okay and your family is okay. From KNUV 91.5 FM radio at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Mackenzie, Emil.
Thank you, Madison. Outdoor concerts are very common everywhere. Concert goers seldomly think about violence as they look forward to an evening of entertainment.
The party often starts well before the concert's first song. Just getting to the venue can be part of the evening.
Some drive, grab an Uber, or take a local shuttle. Joining us in studio now is Triad News 360 Jennifer Brammer with a live report from Las Vegas. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mackenzie and Emil. Joining me live from Las Vegas is James Dixon. He is the tour bus driver for performers with the Jason Aldean concert. He was backstage during the concert and helped victims climb the fence and sheltered them in his bus and was right in the middle of it. Thank you so much for joining me, James. So please tell me, what was your job the night of the concert?
Well, we actually, I drive a bus for entertainers, and we were there for the day of the show. And just for the record, I didn't actually shelter anybody on the bus. I was parked up close to the fence, and I'm one of the people that helped people over the fence. and I got about 8 persons over the fence before the fence collapsed and the wave of people started coming and running past all the buses.
When did you first realize that something was very wrong?
The runner had just picked us up at the hotel to bring us back to drive for the night, and we were standing outside the bus talking about where we were going, and I headed right into the buses. And just as I got in the bus, somebody knocked on the door and said, "Run, they're shooting." And then I closed the door to let the tour manager know that there was a shooting somewhere. We didn't know where. And then the other bus driver came up and knocked on the door and said, "There's a shooting going on, definitely." At that point, I looked out the door and I saw people climbing the fence, literally using each other as a human ladder to get up over the fence. It was quite tall.
Wow. What was it like when the concert goers started coming out and trying to get on the bus?
It was pretty tense. I mean, there was definitely a look of horror and terror, everything in their face. I've never seen anything like it.
That was James Dixon joining me live from Las Vegas with his eyewitnesses' accounts of the events at the concert that night. Thank you again, James. Mackenzie, Emily, back to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. The events of that shooting that night will leave scars on more than just the wounded.
First responders, members of the media, and just those near the concert will never forget what they heard or saw.
The NRA has come out in support of a federal law banning bump stocks. Bump stocks are devices that can be attached to semi-automatic weapons that essentially turn them into near military-grade automatic machine guns.
Yes, you heard that right. The National Rifle Association has come out in support of this law in the wake of the Las Vegas shootings, where Stephen Paddock is reported to have used a bump stock, making the shooting far worse than it might have been if he had not had access to one. Some GOP lawmakers have also said they are looking into it.
If this law can move forward, it will be a greatly needed measure of bipartisanship that this country hasn't seen for quite some time.
Christopher Forst resigned as Miami Dolphins offensive line coach on Monday after a video was released by a Las Vegas model of him apparently snorting a white substance through a rolled up $20 bill.
The Dolphins are fully aware of the video, which a team source said was probably taken in the team's offices.
The video we are about to show contains graphic content of possible drug use.
The Dolphins had just beaten the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee that Sunday afternoon. Apparently, Forrest made the selfie-type video that evening before a team meeting of some kind.
The video is about a minute long and shows the Miami coach snorting a white powder and taking to cell phone directly.
The video came to light by a Las Vegas model who said she released it for social injustice.
In a statement released by the Dolphins, that his focus will be on getting the help that he needs with the support of his family and medical professions.
2 months after the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, neo-Nazis returned for another small protest.
The rally was led by far-right figure Richard Spencer, who was the mastermind behind the August protest.
Neo-Nazis joined the front of the Robert E. Lee statue in Charlottesville, which had been covered since August protest, as the town discusses whether or not to remove it.
When students go to school, they worry about tests, sports, and just getting along.
Other students worry if they can not only stay in school, but in the country.
Triad News 360 reporter Isabel Germino recently visited a local high school where students are concerned about decisions made in Washington.
When Obama created DACA, it was an answer to many prayers.
These students are here to listen and learn. They could be playing sports or hanging with friends, but instead they are attending the National Conference for Community and Justice Anytown program to discuss the issue of DACA.
DACA is impacting me because a lot of my close friends are actually undocumented and they have to worry about whether or not they're going to be deported, or one of my close friends at school, she worries that she's not going to be able to get her license, and she works 3 jobs. She's the only one supporting her family, and so she's worried that if they if they take DACA away from her, that her family is just going to be out on the street.
My friends that are undocumented and under the DACA program, they're in a limbo. They're scared. They've talked to their lawyers. They've done everything that they can afford to do.
DACA is affecting many of my friends and their emotional status and their families. I know many people who are dealing with depression because of DACA, and they've changed their future plans of going to college because of DACA.
DACA is the federal program that allows people who arrived in the United States before the age of 16 to obtain work permits, driver's licenses, and other benefits typically only granted to U.S. citizens.
I think that it shouldn't just be for young people. I think that it should be for all undocumented immigrants. Everyone deserves a chance.
I know plenty of people that are over 30 years old and still want to go to college or want to have a license, anything really that everyday Americans take for granted.
For Triad News 360, I'm Isabel Germino.
That speech was given at the National Conference for Community and Justice Anytown program for high schoolers.
Families just want to stay together. They can only hope that members of Congress can come together for the sake of the dreamers.
Well, in other news, marijuana is set to go mainstream next year in Massachusetts, Maine, and California. They will join 5 states that currently allow marijuana to be sold recreationally.
That's right, and the additions of California to this list could quite possibly push nationwide sales of marijuana to $24 billion within the next 10 years.
In California, sales are poised to begin on January 1st, while Maine and Massachusetts have slated summer 2018 as their target date to have legal dispensaries open.
After this, we'll take a closer look on how a banquet honored cancer victims and survivors.
And see how North Carolina fishing team did their part to help the relief effort following Hurricane Harvey.
This is Triad News 360, and we'll be right back.
Let's love your country. Let peace cannot outweigh the whole. Solidarity, unity, and compliance. The longevity of our
When did this become reality? Do you know your First Amendment rights?
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Triad News 360 for Tuesday, October the 10th.
I'm Mackenzie Fisher.
And I'm Emil Menard.
And now we have a package for you on the Las Vegas shooting from the UNLV students.
Today morning, people were finally allowed back near the Route 91 concert venue to pick up their cars and belongings. Studio G reporter James Schaefer was on the scene.
Just one block behind me is the Route 91 concert venue where 50+ concertgoers were killed and 500+ were injured. Locals and residents are making their way through the police blockade to lend their aid and share their love with those afflicted by the horrible attack.
I was mostly hearing women screaming and men telling all their women and maybe all the children to go, go.
At Duke Ellington and Reno, victims of the Route 91 attack went to a police blockade to retrieve their cars and their belongings. One victim of the attack that was nearby was Kyle Robinson, who was private security for the Route 91 concert. Robinson relived the trauma of the shooting to Studio G.
I didn't really think it was gunshots until I felt a little warmness on my face. I looked down, I had blood splatter all on me. My supervisor told me to help people, grab people, and Metro looked at me and told me to come here and start grabbing the wounded.
Robinson's sister, who was also working at the event, was Chandra Bridges. Bridges was additionally lucky when she found her backpack stopped a bullet from striking her with a fatal blow.
Holes from the bullets hitting my backpack, like grazing it, not complete bullet holes. But I believe if my backpack wasn't on my back, it probably would have been me that was hit. Yeah.
Both Robinson and Bridges wanted to send one last message about their coworker who was killed at the event and want his memory to live on past the horrors of the attack.
That's Eric Silva. He didn't die doing the job. He died being a human being and helping people, being a hero.
How long did you know Eric?
A couple of days. I just got hired to the company, and he was the one that was actually the most nicest and polite with the most smiles in the morning.
James Schaefer, Studio G.
That was a package from UNLV students. It's always interesting to see a student's perspective on an event like that.
Well, it's hurricane season and 5 hurricanes have passed North Carolina. Hurricane Nate was supposed to send lots of rain this way. So let's go outside and take a look at how it's affecting us with Triad News reporter Madison Johns.
This umbrella, but as you can see, there's only a couple of clouds out in the sky, which is funny because we've had 5 hurricanes come through North Carolina and we really did not get much rain at all, just a little bit. So, I mean, I'll be standing out here waiting for some rain, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that way since there's only that one little patch of sky, but I'll keep you updated. Back to you guys in the studio.
And now we have Graylin, who's going to be telling us a little bit about some boating.
Thanks, Mackenzie. So since the first pictures showed up with the overwhelming amount of damage to Houston and the surrounding areas, people from all over the country have been pitching in to help. In particular, a boating team from Western Carolina University. I had the opportunity to interview a few members of the team to get a better sense of what it truly means to lend a helping hand.
Everyone has seen the pictures of Hurricane Harvey and the rescues that took place. The courage of other people motivated others to join in. Jacob and his friends saw these images and couldn't sit by and do nothing. For 2 days, the team launched their boats into the flooded waters of Houston. In that short amount of time, the Western Carolina team alone rescued 41 people. In addition, they joined forces with a team from Louisiana and raised the amount of people saved to over 50. Among these 50 people was a 90-year-old woman in a wheelchair.
90-year-old woman, and she was actually immobile, so she was bound to a wheelchair. We had to lift her and the wheelchair into a small boat and then float the boat over to where the truck was and put her from the from the boat into the truck. And that was pretty tough.
While saving people was the main concern, the team also took time to save animals such as cows.
They were about up to their shoulders in water in some places. We just pushed them on up to high ground with the boats.
There was no stopping them. The team worked from sunup to sundown. The money played a huge part in making their rescue missions possible. The team of 11 spent $4,500 out of their own pocket and in addition raised $9,000 in donations.
Luckily we raised a little over $9,000, so we were able to send some money back down there to help out with more hurricane relief.
This group of juniors and seniors have done something in their college career they will never ever forget, and the people of Houston will forever be thankful for them.
Doris set an example to find opportunities to help no matter how far one may be. Mackenzie, Emil?
Wow, what an incredible story. Thank you so much, Graylin.
Right? This makes me think of ways I want to help. Thank you, Graylin.
Apple's Chief Design Officer, Joni Ives, says the most customers misuse iPhones.
Ives then explained a statement saying that the constant use of this popular smartphone is not appropriate use. The Apple rep offered a solution with his new Apple Watch. He tends not to scroll on his phone as much.
Looks like Apple's trying to push products again.
They really know how to keep their customers hanging.
After this short break, more news on Hurricane Nate and a local fall festival that features some unbelievable guests.
This is Triad News 360.
Let's love your country. The peace cannot outweigh the whole. Solidarity, unity, and compliance. The
When did this become reality? Do you know your First Amendment rights?
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. I'm Mackenzie Fisher.
And I'm Emil Menard.
So after such a nice start to the week following the fall concert, it's been pretty gray and muggy these past few days.
Leftovers from all the hurricanes, I'm sure. How's it looking this week?
Guys, Hurricane Nate is coming around the corner as a Category 1 hurricane. It's supposed to cause a lot of tree damage and some possible power outage. As for our national pressure systems up in the northwestern region, it's supposed to have some low pressure, which means that it's going to be some cold and chilly weather. But in the mid region, we're going to have some high pressures, meaning it's going to be some warmer and sunny weather. But as for our national temperatures forecast, up in the northern region, it's supposed to be chilly. It gets down to 24 degrees. But as for my favorite state, Florida, it gets up to 83 degrees. But when looking directly at North Carolina, it's even with this weather coming around the corner, it still stays up to 79 degrees in Raleigh. While looking at our weekly weather forecast for this week, Tuesday through Friday, it's supposed to be rain, high chance of rain. But to get to this weekend, it's supposed to be cloudy, being able to get back to your normally everyday activities. Back to you, Madison. I know the hurricane is supposed to be outside. How is it going on right now? Madison, back to you.
Thank you, Madison, for that weather report. It's disappointing. I guess fall is running late this year or something.
Yeah, hopefully it'll clear up soon.
Yeah, so it's really disappointing. Fall is running late this year.
Yeah, these temperatures sure make you feel that way, Mackenzie. Hopefully it'll clear up and cool off soon.
Hey, Emil, did you know that there are exotic animals just 1 hour away from campus?
What? No, I didn't know that.
Yep, just about 54 miles from here. You can visit and feed giraffes, zebras, cows, camels, rams, deer, sheep, and a delightful ostrich.
Wow, that actually sounds so fun. Triad News 360 reporter Kate Mons got to do exactly that.
Oh my God. There's nothing more memorable than feeding a giraffe on the top of your car. What about lions, tigers, and bears? Well, just kidding. More like bulls, zebras, and giraffes. Head over to Lazy 5 Ranch through October 29th for their fall festival with their main attraction, animals.
Yeah, they have a lot of fall festivities. You can go and bring kids and enjoy with the family.
Lazy 5 is privately owned and operated by Henry Hampton, who's been raising exotic animals for over 35 years. It started out as more of a zoo exhibit and finally turned into a hands-on experience, home to 750 animals from 6 different continents.
So the animals come up to your car and you can feed them and you can play with them. It's so fun. I would say the bull is the craziest animal here because they have crazy huge horns and they literally come into your car and the horns are like stopping them from coming in.
Needless to say, by the end of this 3.5-mile safari ride, you'll have all the animals chasing you down, eating right out of the palm of your hand. They're quite friendly and love to get up close and personal, that's for sure. Oh my God, I have slobber all over. Bring your friends, bring your family to Lazy 5 Ranch this fall to experience marshmallow roasting, pumpkin slingshots, and a hay castle. You'll never forget an experience like this.
What a fun and exotic way to celebrate the start of fall. Who knew you could go on a safari without leaving the Triad?
I know I'd love to feed those giraffes.
Me too, Mackenzie. Me too. Lazy 5 Ranch is about an hour away from the Triad area in Mooresville, North Carolina. Their hours of operation vary day to day, so be sure to check out the information along the rates found all online at lazy5ranch.com.
And coming up next, we have all things sports.
And we take a closer look at a Washington charity event whose participants might surprise you.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Let's love your country. The peace cannot outweigh the whole. Solidarity, unity, and compliance. The longevity of our
When did this become reality? Do you know your First Amendment rights?
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Emil Menard.
And I'm Mackenzie Fisher.
A congressional charity basketball game that was about as tough as a debate on the floor of Senate in Washington, D.C.
The game pitted members of Congress and staff against lobbyists, with all proceeds going to local children's charities. Our very own Triad News 360 reporter Ashton Keith traveled to D.C. to witness the event.
For Youth, Congressional Fall Classic isn't your typical pickup basketball game. Congressmen and staffers battle it out here for not only bragging rights, but for a good cause.
I had the chance to catch up with Paul Miller, chairman of the Hoops for Youth Foundation, after the game to get a little more insight of what was going on here.
I'm Paul Miller, chairman of the Hoops for Youth Foundation, and this is our 19th annual Fall Classic, which pits members of Congress versus the lobbying community, all in an effort to raise money for local D.C. kids. They started 19 years ago with just the effort to come out here and play basketball, beat each other up a little bit. Most of us don't live here in D.C. We spend so much time down here, but we don't spend a lot of time in the community. So this was our way to kind of help some incredible kids, just give them a little bit of helping hand, a lift up. And as you saw earlier with all the kids here, they love the game, they love rooting for the members, and it's a fun activity, fun game, fun evening out for the family, and we raise a lot of money that goes directly back into this community, all of it.
Absolute great energy. Absolute great energy. Coaches, why don't we give them a hand?
Special guests John Calipari and Keith Ergo came down to help these youngsters perfect their basketball skills and to support the cause. This charity game helps inner city kids who are less fortunate than others. Horton's Kids and the Healthy Babies Project help not only to nurture these kids with healthy meals, but also help them succeed later on in their lives. With over $100,000 raised this past year, I think it's safe to say that everybody won in this basketball game. And as always, it's for the kids. Reporting for Triad News 360, this is Ashton Keith.
Say, hoops for youth! Hoops for youth on three! 1, 2, 3!
It's pretty funny to see old politicians doing their best to tear up the court, but at least it's all for a cause.
That's right. And I'm sure Horton's Kids and the Healthy Babies Project appreciated the money the event raised. Charity events are such a blast. Well, fall sports are in full swing.
Joining us in the studio is Triad News reporter Alexis Austin.
Thank you, Mackenzie and Emil. Former HPU baseball standout Cody Allen, a relief pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, returned to the MLB postseason for the second year in a row. Allen has one save against the New York Yankees and has pitched 4 innings without allowing a run in the American League Division Series. Allen finished the regular season with 30 saves and a 2.94 ERA. The Indians take on the Yankees Wednesday night in a decisive Game 5 to determine who will advance to the ALCS. The High Point men's soccer team struck early and never looked back in defeating Radford by a score of 2-1 this past Saturday. Senior Ibe Cadulo and Justin Shear scored goals for the Panthers. Goalie Keegan Mayer made 6 saves in the match as the Panthers improved to 4-4 and 3 on the season. Up next for the Panthers is Loyola, Maryland, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Vert Stadium. High Point University women's soccer team lost 1-0 on Saturday at UNC Asheville, ending the Panthers' 4-game winning streak. Senior goalkeeper Alex Hank made 4 saves in defeat against the Bulldogs. The Panthers are now 3-1-1 in conference play. Next up, the Panthers travel to Gardner-Webb on Wednesday, and one of the major events of the fall season, the Panthers will be hosting the Vert Cross Invitational Cross Country Meet in Kernersville, North Carolina tomorrow. Standout Alejandro Juan Torres will lead the men in the 8K race, while Famke Heist will lead the women in the 6K. Both High Point men's and women's golf teams are hitting the links on October 16th and 17th. The men's will be competing at the Phoenix Invitational in Burlington, North Carolina, while the HPU women's team will be in Hayesville, North Carolina for the Bill Berg Invitational. Last Saturday, the High Point women's lacrosse team received their Big South Championship rings. The Panthers won the Big South Conference for the third time last season and scored conference record 480 points en route to an undefeated season in conference play. They became the first team in any sport in school history to win an NCAA tournament game. The High Point women's volleyball team moves to 6-0 in conference play after defeating Presbyterian and Gardner-Webb over the weekend. The Panthers won both matches 3-0 and have now won 8 straight matches and 13 straight sets over their last 5 matches. And the Panthers are back in action in the Miller Center tonight. That's all for news tonight. Back to you, Mackenzie and Emil.
Thanks, Alexis. We'll have an update on the volleyball Panthers on the next Triad News 360. Don't go away. Up next, we have an exclusive behind-the-scene look at Miss North Carolina and Miss Teen North Carolina pageant, hosted right there in High Point.
And a look at the Dixie Classic Fair that came to the Triad for a week.
That's right. Triad News 360. We'll be right back.
Let's love your country. The peace cannot outweigh the whole. Solidarity, unity, and compliance. The longevity.
When did this become reality? Do you know your First Amendment rights?
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Mackenzie Fisher.
And I'm Emil Menard.
Beauty queens from across the state filled backstage at the High Point University Theater.
They're competing for the ultimate title, Miss North Carolina and Miss Teen North Carolina.
Joining us live from the theater is Triad News 360 reporter Emily Durant with more information on this glamorous evening. Emily?
Last week, High Point Theater had the privilege of hosting beauty queens from across the state as they competed for the ultimate title, Miss Teen North Carolina and Miss North Carolina 2018.
Competitors' nerves were racing backstage.
It's very nerve-wracking. There's a lot of beautiful girls.
As 47 girls prepared for North Carolina's most fierce beauty competition. Elegance and grace were center stage at this event as they fought for the crown and title. Following the preliminaries, it was a 3-part competition. Activewear, evening wear, and an onstage interview question for the teen division for ages 14 through 18, and swimsuit, evening wear, and an onstage question for the Miss division ages 19 through 27. The contestants hoped to set a positive example for young girls today.
We're all unique and we're all ourselves. We're not trying to be the girls that we're standing next to. We're being our own selves, and that's what I think girls today should try and aim for.
Having this title and having that opportunity to be a role model is a really big deal for me, because I want to be that person that can go out and be a positive light in young people's lives and in social media today. So to be able to be that is a lot of pressure for me, but it's a good pressure.
Even the crowd was inspired by these girls' passion for what they do.
Man, the way they can get on stage and speak in front of everybody and just the confidence that they exude, every young woman can learn something from these girls.
Both the teen Miss North Carolina, Kavicha Sambesham, and the grand title holder, Miss North Carolina, Kaitlyn Miller-Keys, will advance to the National Miss USA competition in their respective divisions this coming spring.
It was a glamorous evening as all the contestants showcased their beauty from the inside and out. For Triad 360, I'm Emily Durant, reporting live.
Thank you, Emily, and congratulations to the teen Miss North Carolina and the grand title holder, Miss North Carolina 2018.
Both young ladies will be representing the state of North Carolina for 1 year, appearing at fundraisers and benefits for various community organizations.
Fall is here, and so are the traditions.
That's right. Make sure to add a country fair to your pumpkin-filled bucket list.
Winston-Salem's annual Dixie Classic Fair brought out spectators from all over the Triad. The fairgrounds were filled with shows, animals, rides, and of course, funnel cakes. Mackenzie, you actually got to go and see what the excitement was about?
Yes, I did, and I had the time of my life. The biggest attraction of the fair was the Dream Ferris wheel, stretching high into the sky and illuminated with colored changing lights. Guests who stayed later into the evening were rewarded with a fireworks show. Fall is here, and so are the traditions. Make sure to add a country fair to your pumpkin-filled bucket list.
My favorite food was the funnel cake. A lot of powdered sugar, like a lot. And I ate it in about 5 minutes, so it was fantastic.
How'd you feel after you ate the funnel cake?
Fat.
What are the percentages of actually winning a fair game?
I'd say 1 out of 118, because if you actually use the crane on the right side in the front, I think you could get the animal out, but with all the fluff in the middle, it's just impossible to pull it all the way out. I think it's a scam if you're not playing it right.
The biggest attraction of the fair was the Dream Ferris wheel, stretching high into the sky and illuminated with color-changing lights. Guests who stayed later in the evening were rewarded with a fireworks show.
I believe the Dixie Classic Fair is set apart from others due to the culture you experience there and the variety of foods that can be acquired, as well as the rides and various activities and shows that are put on throughout the fair.
Despite all the deep-fried and sugary foods, fruits and vegetables still got their moment of fame. The best vegetable and show competitions brought a healthy component to the table. If you missed the fair this year, you still get a chance to get some local farm fresh goodies at the farmers market that takes the place of the fairgrounds in the off-season.
That looks like so much fun, Mackenzie. Fairs like these are a tradition in many of the communities that celebrates them annually.
Yes, it really was. I'm so glad I had the opportunity to go. Fairs in general are a great reminder of a state's history, as well as an amazing way to have fun.
Well, that's all we have for tonight. Thank you all for joining us here at Triad News 360. I'm Emil Menard.
And I'm Mackenzie Fisher. Good night, High Point.